Hey TSS Mama, Megan here, and welcome to our breakdown pelvic floor and 360 breathing class. I'm so happy that you are here because it is going to be so important that you take this video as we really break down what the pelvic floor is, what 360 breathing is, why we should be doing it, and so much more. Feel free to come back to this video, do it over and over again until it clicks for you. There's going to be a lot of information, but do not worry, the more you come back to it, the better it's going to get. I am seated on a chair today, and for today's purposes, I want you to be seated on a chair too, just to feel out your sit bones. But in other videos, we're gonna move through different positions, and other positions may feel better for you, easier for you to tap into your pelvic floor and your transverse abdominals. So really make sure you are in different positions that feel good for you in our other videos. So let's break down the pelvic floor. A lot of us think of the pelvic floor as a Kegel muscle, which is really only tapping into the front of our pelvic floor. And so when we are doing pelvic floor exercises, it's really tapping into all four corners of our pelvic floor. So I want you to envision your pelvic floor. It is a bowl of muscles that help support your pelvic organs, and it's attached to your front pubic bone, your back tailbone, and your two side sit bones. So let's just start to take the fleshy parts out. Really feel out where your sit bones are. You can rock side to side. You can tilt front to back, feeling out that front pubic bone and the back tailbone, and really imagine that bowl of muscles. So it's going to be really important that we know how to not only strengthen the pelvic floor, but also lengthen the pelvic floor throughout pregnancy and postpartum. Both are equally important. As our bump gets bigger, there is going to be more intra-abdominal pressure. There's going to be more pressure on that pelvic floor. So knowing how to regulate that intra-abdominal pressure with our breath, so using our diaphragm, which we're gonna go over how to breathe correctly, with our transverse abdominals, our deepest core muscle, those corset muscles, and our pelvic floor is really going to serve us, because not only do we want to know how to do that during our workouts, but also in our day-to-day life, getting off of a chair, getting off of the couch, getting out of bed, reaching down to pick something up. How can we manage that intra-abdominal pressure throughout pregnancy and into postpartum so that we are really connected to our core and our pelvic floor in the deepest way? So let's break down 360 breathing. A lot of us are breathing incorrectly, where a lot of us are breathing through our chest, engaging our shoulders, and it's really important that we know how to really breathe through our diaphragm. So I want you to grab your rib cage, and we are going to, as we breathe, breathe into our rib cage and expand side to side, front to back. And that's going to happen on the inhale, not the exhale. Counterintuitive for so many of us, including myself when I learned this. So give yourself time and practice to get this into your body. But we're gonna breathe, we're gonna inhale, and I want you to have no tension in your belly, in your pelvic floor, and any other muscles. We are literally just expanding through our rib cage. Let's do it together. You're gonna inhale, and really feel your rib cage expand side to side, front to back, and then exhale out. Yes. Inhale, expand. Feel that rib cage opening, and exhale. So that's diaphragmatic breathing. We are breathing through our diaphragm. And on the exhale this time, I want us to start to incorporate our transverse abdominals, our TVA muscles. You are going to hear me repeat that 1,000 more times throughout all of our pre and postnatal videos, so you are going to become a pro. But again, our transverse abdominals are our deepest core muscles that wrap around like a corset. So as we exhale, I want you to think about engaging that corset. Imagine those fingertips come together. So again, on the inhale, let's do it together. We're releasing, expanding through that diaphragm. Do it with me. On the exhale, we wrap, and imagine those fingertips come together. Beautiful. Now with our transverse abdominals, it can sometimes be helpful to think about them in three parts. So thinking about the hip bones coming together, the midline, and your upper transverse abdominals. You'll hear me say that a lot too. So let's do that two more times. You're gonna inhale through that rib cage, expand through that diaphragm, not just through the chest, it's really into that rib cage. Exhale, zip. And really feel out those TVA muscles, right? I really like a tactile touch. It can be really helpful. One more time, big inhale, expand. Exhale, think about those hip bones coming together. Midline, upper. Nice. The other part of it is trying to keep other muscle groups out of this circuit. So that's gonna be tricky as well, right? So many things are happening, right? You're gonna wanna potentially engage your glutes, lift your shoulders. It's really about trying to stay relaxed and just incorporating that core work in our 360 breathing. You'll also hear me say too that it almost feels like you are hugging in your baby as you engage those deep transverse abdominals. So think of it like a big cozy hug for your baby. It is completely safe, so you're not doing anything bad for the baby by engaging those transverse abdominals. And it's really gonna feel, like I said, like a cozy hug. Now we are going to put together not only 360 breathing with our diaphragm and our transverse abdominals, but we are also now going to incorporate that pelvic floor lift and lengthen. You're going to hear me say this a lot. It is so important to know that the lift, the strengthening of that pelvic floor is equally as important as the lengthening and the release of the pelvic floor. So we really want to make sure we are able to do both, and we're going to think about that now. So I have a tissue paper here, and again, I think sometimes it's really helpful to visualize the pelvic floor like a tissue paper. So you've got your front pubic bone, your back tailbone, and your two side sit bones. With this tissue paper, this is your bowl of muscles, again, that make up the pelvic floor. And so I'm gonna lay this down on my palm. When we are inhaling, we are lengthening that pelvic floor. There's expansion, there's length, there's no tension. And that's happening on the inhale. On the exhale, I want you to visualize the pelvic floor being picked up in the center of that tissue. Up, 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 and all four corners are coming together, lifting up in an elevator. So again, on the inhale, you're expanding down. There's expansion, there's length, there's no tension. On the exhale, when we use that breath, we're gonna lift all four corners up of that pelvic floor, imagining you're in an elevator going from lobby up to 1, 2, and 3. Another visualization tool that I find really helpful is imagine that your pelvic floor is a crane and you are lengthening down to pick up a marble, a rock, anything off of the ground, and you're picking that up with all four corners of that pelvic floor and you are lifting it all the way up. Sometimes different parts of your pelvic floor, you'll be able to feel that sensation a little bit more than, say, the two sides coming together, and that's okay. It's gonna be a work in progress. It doesn't need to be perfect, but really thinking about all four corners lifting and coming together. So let's put that together with our diaphragmatic breathing and our transverse abdominals. So putting those hands again at that rib cage, let's inhale. You're gonna expand, do it with me. Lengthen that pelvic floor, there's no tension. And then on the exhale, as you wrap those transverse abdominals, you are also lifting all four corners of that pelvic floor up. Inhale, expand through that diaphragm. Lengthen that pelvic floor, no tension anywhere else. Exhale, wrap that transverse abdominal. Lift all four corners of that pelvic floor. Beautiful, 2 more, doesn't need to be perfect. Remember, it's gonna get easier. Inhale, expand. Lengthen, close your eyes if you need to. Really just visualize. Exhale, lift front, back, two side sit bones up in an elevator, wrapping deeply in your transverse abdominals. Last time, inhale, expand. Control the release. Exhale, lift and wrap. and inhale, release. Whew, beautiful. I know that's a lot to think about, right? So shake it out, roll it out. Again, if you need to rock out the fleshy parts to really feel out those sit bones, feel free. Again, maybe you'll find as you move through this that seated just is really hard for you. I know for me, the best position is a tabletop. It's different for everyone. So we're gonna find that in our other videos. Let's just do that 2 more times and then we will be out of here. So have one hand on that rib cage. Let's have the other on your bump, and we're gonna expand through that diaphragm. Feel that expansion. Breath going through that rib cage, side, front, back, and then exhale, lifting pelvic floor, all 4 corners, and wrapping the hip bones together, midline, upper transverse abdominals. Beautiful. Inhale, release. Controlled release. Exhale, lift and wrap. No tension in the tush, no clenching in the shoulders. Wrapping deeper, lifting higher, and inhale, release, expand. Lengthen, reset. Good, rock it side to side. Amazing job. If it's still not clicking, do not worry. You can come back to this video. You can do it 1,000 more times. We have other circuits that are shorter that really do exactly what we just went over, which is incorporating our 360 breathing and our pelvic floor together. So check those out as well. Make sure you feel good about this before moving on to our deep core hold breakdowns. And let me know if you have any questions. You can always find me on social. I'm at Megan Roup at the Sculpt Society, or you can email us info@thesculptsociety.com, and I'll see you next time. Bye.